The wrench slipped from my grease-stained fingers and clattered onto the concrete floor of my garage. It was past midnight, and I was under the hood of my beat-up Ford pickup, trying to fix a radiator leak that had been plaguing me for weeks. The fluorescent light above flickered intermittently, casting dancing shadows across the tools scattered on my workbench. That's when I heard Lauren's voice drifting through the thin walls from our kitchen. She was on the phone, her tone sharp and calculated like it always got when she was plotting something. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe. Drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Listen, Becca, she said to her sister. If Jake thinks he can just waltz off to Tommy's bachelor party after everything we've discussed, he's got another thing coming. I've already told Derek I might need some company this weekend. I froze. Derek, her ex-boyfriend from law school. The same Derek who'd been texting her constantly over the past month, supposedly about some legal consultation for his luxury car dealership. I'm serious, Lauren continued, her voice growing colder. Jake needs to learn that actions have consequences. If he chooses his drinking buddies over his wife's feelings, then maybe I'll choose someone who actually appreciates me. My hands clenched into fists. Nothing like emotional blackmail to spice up a Thursday night, I thought bitterly. After 15 years of marriage, it had come to this. Threats and ultimatums over a simple bachelor party. I'd built my auto repair shop from nothing, working 18-hour days to give Lauren the life she wanted. But as her legal career took off, and she started mingling with the white-collar crowd downtown, I could feel her pulling away. My calloused hands and work boots didn't fit into her new world of wine tastings and country club events. The garage door creaked as I pushed it open slightly, trying to catch more of her conversation. The cool October air bit at my face, carrying the scent of fallen leaves and motor oil. Derek's been so understanding about everything, Lauren was saying. He actually listens to me, unlike some people. And he's doing so well with the dealership. Just bought that gorgeous house on Maple Street. I'd heard enough. Quietly, I pulled out my phone and started recording. If Lauren wanted to play games, she'd picked the wrong guy. I might work with my hands for a living, but I wasn't stupid. 20 minutes later, I had everything I needed. Lauren had laid out her entire plan to Becca, how she'd been reconnecting with Derek, how she felt I didn't appreciate her anymore, and how spending the night with her ex would show me what I was missing. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend Mick. You still coming Saturday? Tommy's counting on his best man being there. I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back, wouldn't miss it for the world. The next morning, Lauren sat at our kitchen table, sipping her coffee and scrolling through her phone like nothing had happened. She was dressed in one of her expensive business suits, her blonde hair pulled back in a perfect bun. Everything about her screamed success and sophistication. Good morning, I said, pouring myself a cup of coffee. Sleep well? Fine, she replied without looking up. I assume you've thought about what we discussed regarding this weekend. You mean your ultimatum? I kept my voice casual, almost amused. Her eyes snapped up to meet mine. It's not an ultimatum, Jake. It's about priorities. Tommy's bachelor party is just an excuse for you and your friends to act like college kids again. Meanwhile, I'm here dealing with everything alone. Everything like what? Your late-night phone calls with Derek? The color drained from her face, but she recovered quickly. Derek is a client. We're working on some contract issues for his business. Right, and I'm sure those contracts require a lot of personal attention. Lauren stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the tile floor. I don't like your tone, Jake. If you can't trust me to maintain professional relationships, then maybe we have bigger problems than I thought. Trust goes both ways, Lauren. You threaten to sleep with your ex if I go to my best friend's bachelor party, and I'm supposed to just roll over and accept it? Her jaw dropped. She hadn't expected me to know about that conversation. For a moment, the mask slipped, and I saw something cold and calculating in her eyes. I don't know what you think you heard, but I heard plenty. I pulled out my phone. Amazing how sound carries in this old house. Lauren's face went white, then red with anger. You recorded me? How dare you? How dare I? You're planning to cheat on me and I'm the bad guy for finding out about it? She grabbed her purse and briefcase, her movements sharp and aggressive. I'm late for work. We'll discuss this tonight. No need, I said, taking a long sip of my coffee. I'll be at Tommy's bachelor party. Have fun with Derek. The front door slammed so hard that the windows rattled. I spent the rest of Friday morning at the shop, trying to lose myself in work. But every time I looked at my phone, I found new messages from Lauren's sister Becca, her best friend Kendra, and even Derek himself, all trying to convince me not to go to the bachelor party. Becca's text was particularly galling. Jake, you need to think about what's best for your marriage. Lauren just needs to feel valued. Kendra, who ran some social media PR company and always stuck her nose in everyone's business, was more direct. Don't be stupid, Jake. Lauren's a catch. If you can't appreciate her, someone else will. But Derek's message was the final straw. Hey man, no hard feelings about the past, right? Lauren and I are just friends, but maybe you should stay home this weekend. Show her you care. I forwarded all the messages to Mick with a note. Look what I'm dealing with. His response came back immediately. These people are insane. You're definitely coming tomorrow. In fact, I have an idea. Saturday afternoon, I was getting ready when Lauren came home from her yoga class. She'd been giving me the cold shoulder for 2 days, but now she seemed almost excited. So, have you made your decision? She asked, leaning against the bedroom doorframe. I was packing my overnight bag, making a show of folding my clothes carefully. About what? Don't play dumb, Jake. The party. Oh, that. I zipped up the bag and slung it over my shoulder. Yeah, I'm going. Tommy's my oldest friend. I wouldn't miss his bachelor party for anything. Lauren's eyes flashed with anger, but there was something else there, too. Relief? Anticipation? Fine, she said. Don't say I didn't warn you. Warn me about what? That you're going to prove you're exactly the person I thought you were? She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. You have no idea who I really am, Jake. You see what you want to see. The dutiful wife who should be grateful for your blue-collar paycheck and your beer-drinking friends. And what do you see when you look at me? Honestly? She tilted her head, studying me like I was some kind of specimen. I see someone who peaked in high school, someone who's holding me back from the life I deserve. The words hit like a physical blow, but I kept my expression neutral. Well then, I guess we both know where we stand. I walked past her toward the door, then stopped. Oh, and Lauren? Say hi to Derek for me. The drive to the lake house where we were holding the bachelor party should have been relaxing. Instead, I spent the entire hour thinking about my marriage and how it had slowly disintegrated. Lauren wasn't wrong. We had grown apart. But threatening to cheat wasn't the answer. Tommy greeted me at the door with a beer and a grin. There's the man of the hour. I was starting to think Lauren had you locked up. Not quite, I said, accepting the drink. Though she certainly tried. Mick appeared beside us, his boxer's build making him look like a bouncer even in casual clothes. Did you bring what we talked about? I patted my pocket. Right here. Good. This is going to be epic. The party was exactly what you'd expect. A bunch of guys in their 40s trying to recapture their youth with too much beer and terrible karaoke. But I couldn't shake the image of Lauren and Derek together, probably laughing about how easily they'd manipulated me. Around 10 o'clock, Mick pulled me aside. You ready to do this? I nodded, pulling out my phone. We'd set up a group video call with all the guys, and Mick had invited a few extra people, including Derek, who apparently thought he was being brought in on some kind of joke. Hey everyone, I said, addressing the camera. I want to propose a toast to my beautiful wife Lauren, who gave me an ultimatum about coming here tonight. The guys laughed, thinking I was just venting, but Derek's face on the screen went pale. See, Lauren told me that if I came to this party, she'd be spending the night with her ex-boyfriend Derek here. I turned the camera toward Derek. Isn't that right, Derek? Derek stammered something incoherent, but I wasn't done. So here's to Lauren and Derek, and to knowing exactly where you stand with the people in your life. Cheers! The room erupted in confused laughter and uncomfortable silence. Derek disconnected from the call immediately, but the damage was done. Everyone now knew what was happening. My phone started buzzing with messages, but I ignored them all. For the first time in months, I felt like I was in control. I drove home Sunday afternoon with a clear head and a plan. The bachelor party had been exactly what I needed. A reminder that I had friends who actually gave a damn about me, unlike my wife who was probably still tangled up in Derek's Egyptian cotton sheets. The house was eerily quiet when I walked in. Lauren's car wasn't in the driveway, and there was no sign she'd been home. I wasn't surprised, but it still stung. I was unpacking my bag when I heard a car door slam outside. Through the bedroom window, I watched Lauren storm up the walkway, her face a mask of fury. She was still wearing the same clothes from yesterday, a black dress I'd never seen before. The front door banged open. "Jake, get down here right now!" I took my time walking downstairs, finding her pacing in the living room like a caged animal. "How could you?" she screamed. "How could you humiliate me like that?" "Humiliate you?" I almost laughed. "You spent the night with another man and I'm the one who humiliated you? That's not the point. You had no right to broadcast our private business to your drinking buddies." "Private business? You mean your affair?" Lauren's hands shook with rage. It wasn't an affair. It was a mistake. A moment of weakness because I felt so alone and unappreciated. Save it for someone who cares, Lauren. We both know this has been building for months. Derek's just the excuse you needed to finally pull the trigger. She collapsed onto the couch, suddenly looking older than her 39 years. "What do you want me to say, Jake? That I'm sorry? That it didn't mean anything?" "I want you to be honest. For once in your life, just tell me the truth." Lauren looked up at me, and for a moment, I saw the woman I'd married 15 years ago. But then, the mask slipped back into place. "Fine. You want the truth? I'm not happy. I haven't been happy for years. You work all day in that garage, come home covered in grease, and expect me to be satisfied with this mediocre life. This mediocre life bought you that BMW in the driveway. It paid for your law school loans. It gave you the freedom to build your career. And what about what I gave you?" Her voice rose again. "I could have married anyone, Jake. Doctors, lawyers, businessmen who actually understood ambition. But I chose you. I chose this. And now you're choosing Derek. Derek gets it. He understands what it means to want more, to strive for something better. When I'm with him, I don't feel like I'm settling." The words hung in the air between us like a poison cloud. There it was, the truth I'd been avoiding for months. In Lauren's eyes, I wasn't a husband or a partner. I was a mistake she'd been trying to fix. "Well then," I said quietly, "I guess that settles it." "What do you mean?" "I mean you've made your choice, and now I'm going to make mine." Lauren's phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at it, and her face went white. "What is it?" I asked. It's Kendra. She says the video from last night is all over social media. Someone recorded your little speech and posted it." I hadn't expected that, but I wasn't surprised either. In today's world, everything ended up online eventually. "My boss saw it," Lauren continued, her voice barely a whisper. "He wants to see me first thing Monday morning. I'm sure you'll figure something out. You always do." She looked up at me with something approaching panic. "Jake, you have to help me fix this. We can say it was all a misunderstanding, that we were just having problems, but we're working through them. Why would I do that? Because we're married. Because despite everything, we're supposed to be a team. I walked to the window and looked out at our neighborhood. Modest houses with well-maintained lawns, the kind of place where people minded their own business and worked hard for what they had. It was a good life, even if Lauren couldn't see it. We stopped being a team the moment you chose Derek over me, I said, without turning around. Now you get to live with the consequences. This will ruin me, Jake. My career, my reputation, everything I've worked for. Should have thought of that before you decided to blow up our marriage. Lauren stood up abruptly. Fine. If that's how you want to play it, then we're done. I'll file for divorce tomorrow. Good luck with that. Adultery is still grounds for divorce in this state, and thanks to last night, you've got plenty of witnesses. She grabbed her purse and headed for the door, then stopped and turned back to me. You know what your problem is, Jake? You're small. Small dreams, small ambitions, small life. I outgrew you years ago, and I should have had the courage to admit it sooner. After she left, I sat in my living room for a long time, thinking about everything that had happened. The house felt different now. Not empty, exactly, but free. Like a weight I'd been carrying for years had finally been lifted. My phone rang. It was Mick. Hey man, you okay? I heard about the video going viral. Yeah, I'm fine. Better than fine, actually. Good. Listen, there's something you should know. That friend of Lauren's, Kendra, she's been stirring up trouble online, trying to make you look like the bad guy. What do you mean? She's posting all kinds of stuff about how you're controlling and manipulative, how Lauren was just trying to find happiness. Real victim-blaming bullshit. I wasn't surprised. Kendra had never liked me, probably because I'd seen through her fake concern and social media manipulation from day one. Let her post whatever she wants, I said. The truth has a way of coming out. That's not all, Jake. I did some digging, and guess what? Kendra used to work for you, didn't she? About 5 years ago? I frowned, thinking back. Yeah, briefly. She was doing some marketing work for the shop, but I had to let her go. She was spending more time on personal projects than actual work. Well, she's been holding a grudge ever since. I think she's the one who's been pushing Lauren toward Derek all along. The pieces started falling into place. Kendra's sudden interest in Lauren's happiness, her constant presence whenever Lauren was having doubts about our marriage, her immediate defense of Lauren's affair. She hadn't been trying to help my wife. She'd been trying to destroy me. Mick, I said, I think it's time I paid Kendra a visit. Monday morning, I did something I hadn't done in years. I closed the shop and spent the day doing research. If Kendra wanted to play games, she'd picked the wrong opponent. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for. Kendra's social media PR company was barely staying afloat, propped up by a few local businesses who didn't know any better. But more importantly, she'd been documenting her manipulation of Lauren for months, thinking she was clever by posting cryptic messages about helping friends see the truth and removing toxic people from your life. I screenshotted everything, building a timeline that showed exactly how Kendra had orchestrated Lauren's affair. The woman was so narcissistic that she'd created evidence of her own scheming. Around noon, my phone rang. It was Lauren. Jake, we need to talk. I'm listening. My boss put me on administrative leave pending an investigation into my conduct. Apparently someone sent him screenshots of text messages between Derek and me. Gee, I wonder who that could have been. This isn't a joke. My career is on the line here, and Derek says he can't see me anymore. His business partners are worried about the scandal affecting their reputation. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. So, let me get this straight, I said. You threw away our marriage for a guy who dumped you the moment things got complicated? It's not that simple. It never is it, Lauren? There's always some excuse, some justification for why your choices are everyone else's fault. I know you're angry. I'm not angry anymore. I'm done. With you, with this marriage, with pretending that what we had was worth saving. There was a long pause. When Lauren spoke again, her voice was small and defeated. What do you want from me, Jake? What will it take to make this go away? Nothing. There's nothing you can give me that I want. You made your choice, and now you get to live with it. After I hung up, I drove to Kendra's office, a trendy co-working space downtown where she rented a desk by the month. She was there, hunched over her laptop, probably crafting another social media post about Lauren's situation. "Hello, Kendra." She looked up, startled. "Jake, what are you doing here?" "I think we both know why I'm here." Kendra glanced around nervously. The co-working space was mostly empty, just a few people with headphones on, absorbed in their own projects. If this is about Lauren, I had nothing to do with her choices. I just supported her as a friend. "Cut the crap. I know what you've been doing." I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshots I'd collected. Her face went pale as she recognized her own posts. "You've been manipulating Lauren for months, pushing her toward Derek, feeding her doubts about our marriage, all because you couldn't get over being fired from a part-time marketing gig 5 years ago." "That's not—" I was trying to help her see that she deserved better. Better than what? A husband who loved her? A stable life? Or better than being associated with the guy who saw through your bullshit and called you out on it? Kendra stood up, trying to look defiant, but I could see the fear in her eyes. "You can't prove anything. And even if you could, so what? Lauren made her own choices." "You're right about one thing. Lauren did make her own choices, but she made them based on lies you fed her. You poisoned her against me because you wanted revenge for something that happened half a decade ago. You destroyed my reputation in this town. After you fired me, no one would hire me. I had to start over from nothing. I fired you because you were stealing from me, using my equipment and supplies for your personal projects, billing hours you didn't work. But I never said anything publicly because I felt sorry for you." "That's not how I remember it." "I don't care how you remember it. What I care about is what happens next." I leaned closer, lowering my voice so only she could hear. "You're going to stop posting about Lauren and me. You're going to stop playing victim on social media. And you're going to disappear from our lives permanently." "Or what?" I smiled, and something in my expression made her take a step back. "Or I start telling people the real story. About how you manipulated a vulnerable woman into destroying her marriage because you couldn't handle being held accountable for your own failures. About how your entire business model is based on creating drama and then positioning yourself as the solution. You wouldn't. Try me." Kendra sank back into her chair, defeated. "What do you want?" "I want you to call Lauren and tell her the truth. All of it. How you manipulated her. How you pushed her toward Derek. How this whole thing was about getting revenge on me. She'll never forgive me. That's not my problem." I left Kendra's office feeling lighter than I had in weeks. The pieces were finally falling into place, and for the first time since this whole mess started, I was the one calling the shots. That evening, Lauren called me again. This time, she was crying. "Kendra told me everything," she said between sobs. How she manipulated me. How she made me think you didn't love me anymore." "And what do you think about that?" "I think I've been an idiot. I think I let my insecurities and ambitions cloud my judgment, and I destroyed the best thing in my life." "The best thing in your life?" "Funny, yesterday I was small and mediocre." "I didn't mean that. I was angry and hurt, and you meant every word, Lauren. That's the problem. Kendra didn't create those feelings. She just gave you permission to act on them. So what happens now? Can we try to work through this?" I looked around our house. Our house filled with 15 years of shared memories and broken promises. "I don't think so," I said quietly. "Too much has been said. Too much has been done. Jake, please. I know I made mistakes, but we can fix this. We can go to counseling, take a vacation, start over. You slept with another man, Lauren. You threatened to cheat on me if I didn't obey your ultimatum. You called me mediocre and said you settled for me. Those aren't mistakes. They're choices. The line went quiet for a long moment. I love you, she whispered. No, you don't. You love the idea of not being alone. You love having someone to fall back on when your grand plans don't work out. But you don't love me. After I hung up, I poured myself a beer and sat on the back porch, watching the sun set over our neighborhood. Tomorrow, I'd start the divorce proceedings. I'd sell the house, maybe expand the shop, figure out what the next chapter of my life looked like. But tonight, for the first time in months, I felt at peace. 3 weeks later, I was working late at the shop when Tommy stopped by. His honeymoon tan was already fading, but he looked relaxed and happy in a way that reminded me what a good marriage was supposed to look like. How are you holding up? He asked, grabbing a beer from the mini fridge I kept in the office. Better than expected. The divorce papers are filed, the house is on the market, and Lauren's moved in with her sister. What about Derek? I laughed. Derek's been trying to distance himself from the whole situation. Apparently, his business partners weren't thrilled about the negative publicity. Last I heard, he was looking for a new job. And Kendra? Kendra's been very quiet lately. Turns out when people found out she'd been manipulating Lauren, a lot of her clients started asking uncomfortable questions about her methods. Tommy nodded approvingly. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. We drank our beers in comfortable silence, watching the traffic pass by outside. It was a Tuesday night in a small Midwest town. Not much happening, but that was fine by me. You know what's funny? I said after a while. I should be devastated. 15-year marriage over, starting from scratch at 42. But I feel relieved. Maybe because you finally stopped pretending to be someone you're not. What do you mean? Tommy gestured around the shop. The tools organized just the way I liked them. The classic rock playing softly on the radio. The smell of motor oil and honest work. This is who you are, Jake. You're not some corporate climber or country club socialite. You're a guy who fixes things, who keeps his word, who shows up for his friends. Lauren never appreciated that, but it doesn't make it less valuable. He was right. I'd spent years trying to be the husband Lauren wanted instead of being the man I actually was. No wonder our marriage had failed. My phone buzzed with a text message. It was from an unknown number, but I recognized the writing style immediately. Jake, this is Lauren. I'm using a friend's phone because you blocked my number. I know you don't want to talk to me, but I need you to know that I'm sorry. Not just for the affair, but for everything. For making you feel like you weren't enough, for letting other people poison our marriage, for throwing away something real for something that was never going to last. I know it's too late to fix things between us, but I hope someday you can forgive me. You deserved better than what I gave you. I showed the message to Tommy, who read it and shrugged. Too little? Too late? Way too late. I deleted the message without responding. Lauren had made her choices, and now she had to live with them. My job wasn't to make her feel better about the consequences. The next morning brought an unexpected visitor to the shop. Derek walked in around 10 o'clock, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His usually perfect hair was disheveled, and his expensive suit was wrinkled. "We need to talk," he said. I looked up from the engine I was working on. "Do we?" "Look, I know you have every right to hate me, but I need you to know that I never meant for things to go this far." "How far did you mean for them to go?" Derek shifted uncomfortably. "I don't know. Lauren was unhappy, and I thought maybe we could reconnect, see if there was still something there from college, but I never wanted to destroy your marriage. My marriage was already destroyed. You just helped Lauren realize it. The thing is," Derek continued, "I think I was being played too. Kendra kept pushing Lauren to spend time with me, kept telling her that you didn't appreciate her. I thought Lauren was making her own decisions, but now I'm wondering if we were both being manipulated. I set down my wrench and gave Derek my full attention. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe Kendra orchestrated this whole thing. Maybe she wanted to destroy your marriage and ruin my reputation at the same time. Kill two birds with one stone. It was an interesting theory, and it made a certain amount of sense. Kendra had never liked me, and she'd probably resented Derek's success as well. Manipulating Lauren into an affair would have been a way to hurt both of us. Even if that's true, I said, it doesn't change anything. You still slept with my wife. Lauren still chose to betray our marriage. I know. And I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry, and that it's over between Lauren and me, permanently. Why? Because the scandal hurt your business? Derek looked genuinely ashamed. Because I realized I was helping destroy something real for something that was just nostalgia. Lauren and I, we were never meant to be together. We were just two people trying to recapture something from 20 years ago. After Derek left, I found myself thinking about what he'd said. Had Kendra really orchestrated the entire affair? It seemed almost too elaborate, too calculated. But then again, Kendra had always been manipulative, and she'd certainly had the motive. Not that it mattered now. Lauren had made her choice, and so had I. Whatever Kendra's role in the whole mess, the marriage was still over. That afternoon, I got a call from Mick. You need to see this, he said. Kendra just posted something on her blog that you're going to find very interesting. I pulled up Kendra's website on my phone and found her latest post. When helping a friend goes wrong, my role in a marriage's end. In the post, Kendra admitted to manipulating Lauren, but she framed it as misguided friendship rather than calculated revenge. She claimed she genuinely believed Lauren was unhappy and that I was holding her back. She apologized for her role in the affair, but she also painted herself as a victim of her own good intentions. It was a masterful piece of manipulation, admitting just enough guilt to seem honest while avoiding real responsibility for what she'd done. Classic Kendra. But the comments section told a different story. People weren't buying her victim narrative. Several of her former clients had posted about their own experiences with her manipulative tactics. Others had shared screenshots of her social media posts from before the affair, showing how she'd been actively working to undermine my marriage. Kendra's attempt at damage control had backfired spectacularly. Instead of rehabilitating her reputation, she'd provided a public forum for people to share their own stories about her behavior. I closed the website and went back to work. Kendra's downfall wasn't my concern anymore. I had my own life to rebuild. 2 months after Lauren moved out, the house sold for asking price. I used the proceeds to buy a small place closer to the shop. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. No shared memories, no ghosts of a failed marriage. I was painting the living room when my phone rang. It was Lauren's sister, Becca, which surprised me. We'd never been particularly close, and I'd assumed she'd taken Lauren's side in the divorce. Jake, I hope it's okay that I'm calling. It's fine, Becca. What's up? I wanted to apologize for the things I said during everything. I believed Lauren's version of events, and I said some pretty harsh things about you. Don't worry about it. You were supporting your sister. That's just it. I wasn't really supporting her. I was enabling her, making excuses for behavior that I knew was wrong. I set down my paintbrush and gave Becca my full attention. Lauren's been staying with me since the separation, she continued, and I've gotten to see firsthand how she's dealing with all this. She's not taking responsibility for her actions, Jake. She's blaming everyone else. You, Derek, Kendra, even me, for not stopping her. That sounds like Lauren. The thing is, I keep thinking about all the times over the years when she'd complain about you. How you worked too much, how you didn't understand her ambitions, how you were holding her back. And I always agreed with her because that's what sisters do, right? But looking back, I realized she was never happy. Not really. And it wasn't because of you. Becca paused, and I could hear her taking a shaky breath. She's always been looking for something better, something more exciting. But every time she gets what she thinks she wants, she finds reasons why it's not enough. Derek was just the latest in a long line of grass is greener fantasies. Why are you telling me this? Because I think you deserve to know that not everyone believes Lauren's version of events. And because I think you're better off without her, even though I know that's a terrible thing to say about my own sister. After Becca hung up, I sat in my half-painted living room for a long time, thinking about what she'd said. It was validating to hear someone acknowledge that Lauren's unhappiness hadn't been my fault, but it was also sad. 15 years of marriage, and it had taken a divorce for Lauren's own sister to see the truth about her character. I picked up the paintbrush and got back to work. The room was going to look great when I was finished, warm and welcoming, but uncompromisingly mine. A week later, I was at the annual Town Fall Festival, manning a booth for the shop alongside other local businesses. It was a beautiful October day, and the whole town had turned out for the festivities. Kids ran around in costumes, parents sipped apple cider, and local bands played on the main stage. I was talking to a potential customer about brake repair when I saw them. Lauren, Derek, and Kendra walking together near the food trucks. They looked uncomfortable, like they weren't sure they should be there, but didn't want to appear like they were hiding. Lauren caught sight of me and froze. Even from 50 feet away, I could see the guilt and regret written on her face. Derek looked away immediately, but Kendra stared right at me with undisguised hostility. "Isn't that your ex-wife?" asked Mrs. Henderson, one of my longtime customers. "Yeah, that's Lauren." Shame about what happened, though I have to say, most folks around here think you're better off without her. I glanced at Mrs. Henderson in surprise. Really? Oh, yes. That woman always acted like she was too good for this town, too good for the people who supported your business all these years. And that friend of hers, Kendra? She tried to get my daughter fired from her job at the bank, all because of some social media nonsense. Before I could respond, Tommy appeared at my booth with his wife, Sarah. "Jake, great turnout this year, isn't it?" "Can't complain." Sarah glanced over at Lauren's group, then back at me. "How are you handling all this? It can't be easy seeing them together." "Actually, it's fine. Better than fine." And I realized I meant it. Seeing Lauren with Derek and Kendra didn't hurt the way I'd expected it to. If anything, it reinforced how right I'd been to end our marriage. They looked like exactly what they were. 3 people who'd gotten what they deserved. "Good for you," Tommy said, clapping me on the shoulder. "Life's too short to waste on people who don't appreciate what they have." As the afternoon wore on, I found myself genuinely enjoying the festival. I talked to customers, caught up with old friends, and even helped judge the pie contest. It was the kind of small-town community event that Lauren had always found boring, but I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed being part of something bigger than myself. Around 5 o'clock, as I was packing up my booth, Lauren approached me alone. She looked nervous and uncertain, nothing like the confident attorney who'd walked out of our house 3 months ago. "Jake, can we talk for a minute?" I continued folding up my banner. "I don't think that's a good idea, Lauren. Please, just 5 minutes." Against my better judgment, I stopped packing and gave her my attention. "I've been doing a lot of thinking lately," she began. "About us, about what went wrong, about the choices I made. And I realized that I threw away something precious for something worthless. Derek and I, we don't work. We never worked. We were just 2 people trying to recreate something that never really existed in the first place. I could have told you that 3 months ago. I know. I should have listened to you instead of listening to Kendra. She filled my head with all these ideas about what I deserved, what I should expect from a marriage. But she was wrong, and I was wrong to listen to her." Lauren stepped closer, her eyes bright with unshed tears. I miss you, Jake. I miss our life together. I miss feeling like I had a partner who truly knew me. The partner who knew you wasn't enough, remember? You said so yourself. I was angry and confused, and you were honest. Maybe for the first time in years, you were completely honest about how you felt about me and our marriage. That's not fair. Fair? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You cheated on me, Lauren. You threatened to cheat if I didn't obey your ultimatum, then you followed through on that threat. You called me mediocre and said you settled for me. Now you want to take it all back because Derek didn't turn out to be your Prince Charming? It's not about Derek. It's about realizing what I lost. What you threw away, I corrected. You didn't lose anything, Lauren. You made a conscious choice to destroy our marriage, and now you have to live with the consequences. I finished packing my booth supplies and loaded them into my truck. Lauren stood there watching, tears streaming down her face. "Is there anything I can do?" she asked quietly. "Anything that would make you consider giving us another chance?" I looked at her for a long moment, this woman I'd loved for 15 years, who'd shared my bed and my dreams and my daily life. She was still beautiful, still successful, still everything that had attracted me to her in the first place, but she was also the woman who'd chosen another man over our marriage, the woman who'd called me small and mediocre, the woman who'd been willing to throw away 15 years for a nostalgic fantasy. "No," I said simply. "There's nothing you can do. We're done, Lauren. We were done the moment you chose Derek over me." I got in my truck and drove away, leaving Lauren standing alone in the empty festival grounds. In my rearview mirror, I could see her watching me go, but I didn't look back. That night, I sat on my new back porch with a beer, thinking about the conversation with Lauren. Part of me felt bad for her. She looked genuinely devastated, and I could see that she regretted her choices. But regret wasn't enough to undo the damage she'd caused. My phone buzzed with a text from Mick. "Saw you talking to Lauren at the festival. Everything okay?" I typed back, "Everything's perfect. Finally moving on." And for the first time since this whole mess started, I realized it was true. I wasn't angry anymore, wasn't hurt, wasn't hoping for reconciliation. I was free. The divorce would be final in another month. I had my business, my friends, my new house, and most importantly, I had my self-respect back. Lauren could keep Derek, Kendra, and her regrets. I was done with all of them. I finished my beer and went inside, ready to start the next chapter of my life.